What up, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back with another Saturday. We're doing something special once again. As you guys know, me and this gentleman here before, we've done a Q&A on his channel previously. If you haven't gotten a chance to go check it out, Mooch does have it up on his channel. So we figured that this would be a good idea to keep doing over and over again. We have a really great time, and we rock out with you guys. So we got our guest here. Go ahead and shout out yourself, Mooch.
Well, I want to say what's up to my boy PTK Blam. We are friends, but we're kind of Xbox family at this point, right, man? I mean, we hang out on regular. We came up, we were just playing some Destiny, kind of shooting the breeze, and we said, why don't we do a little Q&A? And we just dabbled with it, like you were saying, on my channel, and it worked out to be really, really a lot of fun. And it seems like everybody got a chance to jump in and ask some great questions. It was such a big success. We decided to do it again. And thank you for having me on your channel, PTK. I really appreciate it, man. Let's get down to it. I'm wondering what these people are going to ask us.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering too. Some of you guys been getting in there a little earlier, throwing some questions at us, but we'll definitely get to them. Also, before we start any questions or anything, I just want to go ahead and give a shout out to a couple of my people that rock out with me. My boy GKB, Gamers Know Best. That's my right hand man on the Shop Podcast, which is still coming on later today at 5 p.m. So you're gonna get a double dose of me this weekend. So
Nice.
But I want to give a shout out to GKB, also my boy Matt, who is also part of the Shop Podcast. A very informative guy. Go check out his channel. He has great content. Check him out on Twitter also too. I'll make sure I put their YouTube in the description so you guys can check them out. So let's go ahead. You ready, Mooch? Get into some of these questions. I got a couple that the style I'm gonna do it in is we're gonna answer a couple like predetermined questions. Then we're gonna start to take the live ones from the viewers. Okay.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Like I got a couple here too. So let's start with yours though first, PTK.
Okay. All right. So let's just jump right into it here. So first question I have, I guess that we could talk about is now this has been very interesting. I don't think it's ever happened before, but GameStop, we found out that they're recently publishing a game for Insomniac Games. Now, GameStop being that the sinking ship that it is, before they pulled this move, I mean, GameStop has been lauded this entire generation. They're a huge reason why the developers want DRM because they're taking a lot of money away or potential money away from these games. With the resale market and everything like that. So, I just wanted to get your opinion on what do you think about GameStop publishing on Insomniac Games?
Well, I mean, here's the deal. Personally, I think it's genius on their part. They're going to lock down physical copy only purchase at their stores, which means if you if you have to or want to buy it, you've got to go there. But the thing is this. Everyone's kind of critiquing them saying this is a dumb move, this and that. There's no way that GameStop can afford to go in and publish something to the extreme of like Quantum Break. So they had to go with something small, right? So it's a 2D scroller. It is what it is. What it really does is it puts GameStop on the map because Insomniac Games is a big company.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's not to the caliber of Sunset Overdrive or anything whacked out, like, crazy. But
yeah,
I think this, okay, look, everyone likes to hate on GameStop. And I've left GameStop many a times, like everybody listening, like yourself, I'm sure, Blam, I'm going to speak for you here.
Yeah.
We all kind of left, cursing under our breath, being like, how dare you take that, and give me like $2.50 and a free Happy Meal. We know what they make on it because all the differences in cost and what they sell it for right in front of our eyes. So we see when you gave a disc back for $2 and then you looked over on the shelf and you see it's $18.99, you see what they're making. But let's just be honest, people. Do we really want an era where you go to every strip mall in America that has a GameStop right now be boarded up? No. So, I mean, I don't really want to see them go. You know what I mean? It's really important that somebody else stay in business selling physical discs at this point. When physical just leaves us entirely, which is, it's going to happen maybe in 10 years. We'll all be laughing about it. A CD may be as like ridiculous looking as VHS tape right now. But until we get to that point, I don't really have a problem with this. So far, me being the consumer, I don't see where this game being published by GameStop affects me, the consumer. I can still buy it digitally, but they did put the limitation that if you want to buy it physically, you have to buy it in their store, which makes sense, right? I mean, people don't understand. People in gaming think the word exclusive is bad. It's not a bad thing to be exclusive. It gives purpose. It gives meaning to whatever that company puts out. That's where their blood, sweat, and tears go into. That company needs physical discs. It was built on that standard, okay? And
Yeah.
there's something to be said for that. You know, like I'll give you an example, PTK. We both got kids.
Yeah.
I always like my physical copy to be brand new if it's a new game, okay? I generally buy digital, but we're talking physical. We're talking physical discs, okay? I want it to be new. But when my son says, "Oh, I want Mario Brothers 2 for 3DS," well, why? I know he's going to beat it up. I know he's going to drop it 8 times. He may even step on it. He may put the cartridge in the 3DS the wrong way, right? So why am I going to go pay $50 for this cartridge when I can get the used cartridge for $20? Now, are they ripping us off? Yeah, a little bit. But the point of the matter is that I can still go in, get my son a game for cheap, and if he breaks it, I'm not as pissed as if he broke the $50 one. So there's different circumstances here. You know, there's also times where you're just like, oh, I really wanted to beat Uncharted 2, okay? I beat 1, I beat 3, I never beat 2. Well, you go in, Uncharted 2 right now is like $13.99. I'm making this up, people. Don't quote me. I don't really.
Yeah.
You know, I got to be honest with you. In the past year, I haven't been in GameStop. I've just been buying everything digitally. It's just too convenient, and the return, the money of the rate of return on your dollar for bringing the disc back, it's not worth it to me anymore. I'd rather just have the collection. But but there's still, I do go there every once in a while. Like I said, it's been almost a year now, but I would buy a lot of like the 3DS games or things like that. But there's still a market for it. So I don't want to see GameStop just leave. Let them get into publishing. Let them kind of rub elbows a little bit and bang elbows, excuse me, not rub, but bang elbows with Microsoft as publisher or some of these other big publishers like EA. The problem, though, PTK, to get back to it really simple, is that I don't think GameStop has the financial backing right now to go up against the EAs and the Activisions. They don't have that kind of money. So you're going to see small 2D scrollers. But if they can lock in a lot of the the indie category that people seem to kind of like, maybe that's going to be their niche. I mean, I'm going to turn it over to you. What do you think?
I think so too. I mean, pretty much everything you were just saying is, hit the nail on the head. I mean, me personally, I don't think it's going to change much as a consumer. It's something definitely different that they're doing. Like you said, I don't think it'll be anything big. I think this is kind of like Microsoft with the whole VR situation. They're kind of just dipping their toe in the pool. Trying to get everything figured out before they, jump in wholeheartedly. I don't know if financially they can do it. I mean, you're not going to see huge games right away that they're going to be publishing. Like you said, you're going to see small indies possibly, and that's also a growing market. Indie scene has actually been pretty much on fire this generation. I mean, we got a lot of great titles coming out of that indie area, but I'm pretty much with you on that. I mean, I just think that I can't see myself worrying about GameStop being a publisher or being a major publisher, within the next 2 to 3 years. So it's definitely going to take some time. So that's kind of my opinion on that.
You know what, though, Blam? And I want to get to our next question. I just want to say this. It's something I mentioned in one of my first sentences today was basically everybody likes to hate, right? So everybody just hates Microsoft. Why? We don't know. Why? Because they're successful, because they have a product that everybody uses every day. We all bank on it to live, but they hate them. And for some reason, everybody just hates GameStop. And it's just and what happened? The media came out 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago and said EA is the most hated company of all time. Now we just say that, right? That's almost like a button you get at a convention. It's like, here's your free I hate EA button. You're like, oh, thanks. Thank you. It's like you get these things, and now we just say them as a matter of fact when it's really not a fact. So all I would say to people is, listen, don't hate on GameStop that much. They still serve a purpose for somebody. In 10 years, GameStop's not going to be around anymore just because technology is going to drive them out, not us, the consumer. It's just going to happen with time. But don't hate as much, and stop hating on Microsoft. Little plug.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely GameStop does still provide a good market for a lot of people. Like you said, a lot of those parents who have that option of not, okay, maybe if I see this game on sale or used, it's still good, but I can save $30, $40 on a game or $20, however much they save. So it does still provide a necessary market. I don't want to see them go anywhere also too, because it does give people more options. We'll see what goes on with that situation. But I want to go ahead and move on to the second question we have. We're going to get into the questions, everybody, in a minute. The live questions, don't forget, that is up right now. So you guys throw your questions in there. Me and Mooch are going to be kind of rapid fire with those questions. So just everything you want to ask us, just go ahead and throw it in there. We'll get to that after this topic here. So the big thing this week, Mooch, is in the Xbox community, pretty much in gaming, has been on fire. Is that Division beta? We've been playing that for the last couple nights, and it's
Yeah.
everywhere right now. And people are asking a lot of questions, and it seems to be the next big thing, I guess you could say. Third party title. It's doing something a little different, still giving you that Destiny esque vibe. I don't want to say Destiny true vibe, but it's still giving you
Hmm.
that Destiny esque vibe. I like the fact that the skill trees and the RPG elements seem to be a little bit more fleshed out than Destiny, so to speak. Destiny
Yes.
really didn't have a semblance of a story. It was just a bunch of cutscenes that were corroborated, and it looked
Mhm.
like something at the end of the day, but it wasn't really much story. You didn't really get much character development. Matter of fact, no character development at all. You were just some made up avatar. Um,
Hmm.
so I,
Hmm.
I see here there's some semblance of a story, there's some semblance of a campaign. So you got it working in that market. Then you got the whole dark zone and multiplayer aspect. It seems to be a great fleshed out idea. I wanted to get your opinion on that division beta and kind of what your impressions are.
Well, I'm glad you asked me because this is a complicated answer. It's not just it's good. It's good in parts and there's concern in other parts. As far as the actual weapons and everything, I'm still getting used to the fact that, and we talked about this last night when we were jamming out a little bit, but it's hard for me to still get wrapped around the fact that I got to put 8,500 bullets into a human being who's maybe, 2 arms lengths away from me. So, like, that's still something I still got to kind of get my head wrapped around because it's just some reason when you're talking about Destiny or Halo or any of those types of games where they just give you the science fiction atmosphere, you have to understand that it's easy to put your mind around the fact that, okay, this guy's got a shield up or something. Okay,
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
it is kind of crazy, but mentally you just kind of get into it, even if it's your favorite novel you're reading, whatever. If the author gives you this science fiction scenario, you can kind of get into it and believe it how you want. But when it comes down to the division, I think the shining parts of the division are it's going to be a lot more fun to play with your friends.
uh,
The dark zone. Okay, what's great about the dark zone is you really need your friends. Okay, you can't
yeah, you
go into
do.
the dark zone and be like, "Yo, listen, Blam, I'm just gonna go down over here and pick this thing up." You ain't coming back. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So like, you got to go as a team. It focuses. It makes you guys work as a team. It's a really really cool dynamic that we haven't seen any developer make us do yet. So that's amazing. The story in the division is way better. Even if it's a simplistic thing, like we need medical supplies, you need to go get doctors over here. We need engineers to build this. That's cool to me because there's a purpose. Where in Destiny, there's really no purpose. It's only the camaraderie that you have with your friends and the scenario of maybe linking up to get a better
raid done or something
raid or
like
something
that.
like that for gear. It's all for gear. Everything is in the name of gear for Destiny. And with
Yeah,
the division, gear plays a role, but I'm not sensing gear is the say all end all. I think it's still getting your fort or the however you want to call it, the headquarters up to like amazing. Like
yeah,
the way I've seen the way that they're portraying the future and like portraying the future, excuse me, and showing the way things are going to come and maybe 6 months into it is I'm more interested in getting my base up to like the technical props being high, getting the medical staff up, getting everything so it looks absolutely pimped out in there, and then also getting guns, sights, foregrips and restock and things like that on your gun that are amazing. That makes your character stronger. But
yeah.
I'm more interested in making the headquarters, which you don't have in Destiny. Destiny, the tower's the tower, the reef's
It's
the reef.
static. It's really
It's
static. Nothing
static.
goes on. The same
And
stuff over and over and over and over and over
And
again.
there you go, Blam. You
Yeah,
said the best thing yet. You said it last night too. The environment is alive in the
yeah,
division.
yeah,
Where you go land on the moon or Venus or wherever you're going. It's just whatever little like action is happening in the far distance, and everything else is completely still. The sand doesn't move. The rocks are nothing. Nothing's happening. There's nothing
yeah,
moving. There's rats and dogs walking around in the division. And remember, guys, this is a beta. Who knows
yeah.
what the hell is going to happen when they actually institute the full game in another month and a half? So, yeah, that's my take on it. I think there's a clear difference between the two. Can you see there's a little bit in common? I
Yeah,
guess, but not enough. You know what I mean? I still think there's enough there that separates and gives the division its own name.
yeah, definitely, definitely. I think the same thing. The division for me, I had a well, not a friend of mine, I guess you could say, but a sub of mine asked me the question actually on one of my last videos. He was saying that it didn't really. change it much for him. And he was having like frame rate issues and everything like that. Resolution was off and it would look terrible. And I asked him, like, what are you playing on? Because I'm playing right now on console and I haven't experienced at any of those things at all. Like not a single frame rate dip or anything like that. No resolution problems. Considering that when you think about I heard, I don't know if this is true or not. You may be able to confirm this for me, Mooch, that the PC specs for this game were incredibly high. You had to have an incredibly high-end rig to run this game. So I don't know how true that is. I just heard that recently. So the fact that they can make it run this well on console and make it look this well for a beta, it's a damn good achievement. I think that they did a damn good job. We give fucking Ubisoft a hard time because of the whole Unity thing and games being broken, the whole Assassin's Creed being pretty much stagnant right now at this point and being hella repetitive and them not being the greatest a company as they used to be. But I think they're really going to deliver with its vision. I think it's really going to be a thing. I think it's really going to, I don't want to say take off to the level of Destiny, because you got to remember, Mooch, with Destiny, it was not only that it was a new IP, it was the fact that it was Bungie's new IP, first new IP since Halo. So that gave the game a lot of fuel too. So you got to think about it that way too. But looks like it's time to go ahead and get into the live questions. Everybody, you ready for the live questions, Mooch?
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't know if you so everybody throw your questions. Me and Mooch are going through the questions right now. So let's see what we can find in here. I know there was some early. Let's see what we got. Just go ahead and shout it out if you got anything, Mooch. Just go ahead.
Well, I got one here. I'm going to bring in actually, and it is from the live audience. He is in the live audience, but okay. I want to grab the one that we were talking about that just came in on my Twitter feed because he's also in the audience, but he's not going to type it again, I don't think. He said here, and I'm gonna ask you, Blam. I want you to answer it first, and I'll go in. Throughout your years in gaming, what game has really motivated you that it changed your life in a gaming perspective?
Oh man, that's
we were talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
It's deep.
Wow. That's motivated me to that level.
Maybe inspired you, gave you that inspiration. Where you were kind of like, the day you were a kid and you were like, this game or this scenario or this situation, really kind of sparked you into being like, I think I could see doing this for a long time.
Okay. In that case, it would have to be Zelda.
Good answer.
Zelda, Ocarina of Time, specifically on 64. That game I didn't have a 64 at the time. My cousin had a 64. I was still playing on Sega Genesis. He the one who got the 64. And I mean, I went over to his house, he popped it in. Because up until that point, Link had been pretty much 2D. So this was one of the first 3D Link games, the open world, Mooch, if you remember. And it was a fantastic game, just the mechanics, the fact that you had to, use it. You could time warp from being a kid to a adult, and it affected the game. You had to jump between being a kid and adult to get certain things done. It was ahead of its time, in my opinion, with the mechanics, man. It was just crazy. We used to sit there and Mooch. I mean, you talk about dump some serious time. We were working that thing like a 9 to 5, Mooch, like every day, 7 days a week. So that was a game that I would say inspired me because, I mean, up until that point, I was playing, a lot of fighters. You had the Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter big back in the day, Streets of Rage, those types of games. And so when I jumped on that console and, I played that game, I was completely blown away. And I believe it was one of my first RPG type games that I played also too, with the leveling and, not necessarily true leveling, but, quests and dungeons and going to do different missions and side missions, things like that, So I'd go ahead and, bounce that question back off of me to you, Mooch. What was your first game that was inspirational?
Well, for me personally, it was Final Fantasy 2 on the SNES.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the deal. This is the thing. This is why I kind of took the question from J House, I think his name was, on my Twitter feed. I'll get his name in a second. But yes, J House 10. Shout out to him. Literally, what we used to do was it was a really fun time for me, my brother, my dad. We got you remember back in the day, you'd go get you didn't have to go get a what's the word I'm looking for here? A guidebook or anything like these big games. The actual game you used to buy came with a map and it came with all kinds of information. Like they used to have actual instruction guides with like information on the game, and you'd play it and you had the map out. And it was an amazing time to actually like sit there with your family, and we played it as a family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was what kind of said to me, I was like, I used to look forward to, I mean, don't get me wrong, when I got home from school, that was probably right around 7th grade, I still went outside. We had touch football because we, city living, you know what I mean? We didn't have a lot of grass, so we did touch. People were still grinding their knees and elbows on the cement when you got pushed too hard. But like we played our football, we did what we did. We had baseball games outside. Everything else we did as we could. But then when it was like after doing homework and dinner, it was time to like hang out inside at 7 o'clock, 7:30. We would jam out and play like Final Fantasy 2, or we'd play Mario Brothers, Zelda. But Final Fantasy 2 was the game that I would say marked that memory. It's that core memory I always remember when I think back to childhood gaming. And it was big because I got the experience that with my brother. My brother and my dad would always have like the guides out, and I was actually the one on the controls because they were always like, "Oh, your hand-eye coordination is better. You're just better at it. You're better at the fighting and this and that and the decision making quick on the." Even though it was turn-based, they still said so. I would always do that, but my brother and my dad were always reading everything. And like I said, it's about those times. Now, some people say, you know what, I had that same experience when they were having a hard time in school. It's that they were able to come home and kind of put either headphones on and play a game and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like just kind of escape from reality. For me, that was like a fun family moment that resonated with me. But, for others, I could see it being that escape. I mean, gaming's kind of cool. Like people get this stigma around gaming. I think it's something that should be talked about a little bit more. It's not a dorky, non-social hobby anymore. As a matter of fact, I don't know.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah, I was just saying, can we get any more different than that? Blam, last night we were enjoying adult beverages. We're having some drinks. People were hopping in and out. We talk everything from sports to bullshit to family shit to everything. I mean, everyone, gaming's included. It's become such a social thing that I think a lot of people are actually intimidated by gaming, to be honest with you. I think some people that don't want to get into it, they're either concerned that they can't play the game or they're going to get hit with a stigma. And I don't understand that. That's something that's going to take a couple years for me to still. I try to like break the mold every time I meet somebody. It says like, oh, I don't like at work with me. Like 3 or 4 people in the past year have gotten Xbox Ones where I work because they're like, yo, shit, this is pretty goddamn cool. Some people you've actually met, Blam, and like, they're having the time of their life. They're hitting us up all the time. I'm sitting down watching a movie, showing my wife, and I'm getting hit like, yo, we doing this Destiny thing or what? You know what I mean? Like, are we gonna get on Division beta? So I mean, it's become quite social, man. It's anything but what it used to be. So yeah, man, that's how I kind of attack that question. We got another one from the that you have written down from prior or something from the lobby?
I'm looking right now. Okay, Desert She Wolf has a question here. Shout out Desert She Wolf. That's my man DKB's wife. She big advocate of the show. She's always in the comments showing love and always just promoting things like that. Appreciate it, She Wolf. So she asked, is the rumor true that EA won't be at E3? Are they going to be doing a show somewhere else? Now that is true. I believe it has been confirmed now. Now, Mooch, you may have some different information, but I think that is true. I just read another article about that actually a little while ago. So EA is going to be doing their own show. I don't know about the exact details. I'd have to go reread it. It was a few hours ago. I don't retain information that well, but I'm going to ask you that question. So so what do you think about that? EA doing their own show, possibly separate from E3.
Here's what I'm thinking about it. To be honest with you, it's kind of we may be starting the snowball effect here. We talked about it a little bit last night on the Crossfire. And, here's the deal. Nintendo has been doing their Direct for the past couple of years and not doing E3, right? Yeah. So, and that's because they just haven't had a lot of content. Like why have this big, like who the hell wants to stand up on a table and scream as loud as they can, look at me, look at me, look at me. And then everybody looks at you and you're like, all right, everybody, never mind. Go back to what you were doing. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have nothing to show, why get on stage? EA is probably going to have one of their biggest software years in 2017.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, people go, well, Mooch, if you're saying this, why wouldn't they want to show it off in 2016? Well, we were talking about it last night, again, not to rehash on the Crossfire podcast. What we said was Nintendo is going to be on stage this year showing parts of the NX. Places like Microsoft and Sony may even get a little drowned out because the media is, the media makes fun of Nintendo, but the minute Nintendo does anything, they love them again. So Nintendo's going to steal a show, I think, at E3 this year. And not necessarily in a good way, but they're going to steal the press. And EA's probably like, listen, we don't have anything coming out till next year at the earliest. So why don't we just do something really small? We're not going to do a huge floor show. Now, what I said about the snowball effect that concerns me is Sony has PSX. Xbox is doing their first annual like Windows 10 Xbox show in February this year. If EA says, hey, we found out that people were just liking what we're doing on a live stream on YouTube over doing a $3 or $4 million show at E3, this could be detrimental to E3 in the long run. Do I think it's detrimental to E3 in 2016? No, absolutely not. But it may come down the road where Microsoft may say, hey, until we reveal hardware, we're not going to E3. Because, right? I mean, because, like, does Microsoft really need to stand on stage for 2 days and talk about Quantum Break? They only do a 15-minute show on stage. Yeah. So I don't know where this is going. I don't know if EA is following Nintendo's work. Do I think it's a big deal to answer the question from the audience? No, I don't think it's a big deal that EA is not there because there's nothing coming out this year from EA anyways. Everything, Mass Effect Andromeda, Titanfall 2, and whatever else, Battlefield 5 is all coming out in 2017. So, and then, Bethesda also set the bar, I wouldn't say high. They just set a new bar. Remember what they did? They said, hey, it's E3, and Fallout 4 is coming out in 4 months. And they left. And you're like, all right. So apparently, we don't need to, E3 doesn't need to be a ground to show games 2-3 years in advance. Maybe they're just going to start revealing games 4 months in advance. That's my take, I guess, on it. What do you think?
Yeah,
do you think it's detrimental or?
No, I mean, I don't really see it being not now. I mean, I think the hype for E3 2016 has already been built. With the fact that Microsoft's games lineup coming out in 2016. There's a lot of great games for a lot of systems coming out. Nintendo getting back on board and kind of reinvigorating everybody with this NX, hopefully. So when Nintendo does it, they kind of been sitting on the wayside this generation. They kind of been sitting on this whole NX, and like you said, they're media darlings. Nintendo could take a shit on stage, and everybody be like, "Oh, look, it's the new Pokemon character." So, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, and they just get a pass for it. But I think with the fact that not this year, it's not going to be all that big of a deal. But like you said, EA is a big company. You're a huge company, and this could be something that's definitely going to have some kind of an impact on the event as a whole. Like you said, Microsoft or even Sony could decide to, like you said, just do different things with their conference and say, wait, if we're not revealing hardware, we're not doing E3. So
right,
it could be something that other companies adopt. But I don't want to worry about it this year coming up. So let's go ahead and you see any other questions in there, Mooch? Let's see what we got. This is Worry. Shout out to Worry Ward.
Shout out to Worry Ward and his
oh my god,
his
Jesus Christ,
Beatles / Sharon Sonny Bono question. I don't know if we need to get into that.
Oh no, Bono. Oh my god,
it's so great. It is so great.
Okay, I got a question here. Mooch from shout out to Perpetrator Rand. It says, question, would you guys consider a AAA as the media seem to think indies are the core target for audience? For me, action, great story, and a badass character. What's your opinions? So what would you guys consider a AAA? So, just in your opinion, Mooch, is it game size? Is it how much content's in the actual game? Or does it just boil down to the fact that, the game has a big budget?
It's 50-50. I would say it's probably comes down to the budget, and it also comes down to the size. Because to be honest with you, let's see, how do I put it? You have games like Quantum Break, Halo, Gears of War 4, trying to depict a few games coming out forward. What makes you so excited about Quantum Break? Well, I hate to say it, but it is the money put into it. Because everything that's amazing. Listen, what do we watch Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous for? Why do we watch Cribs? Why do people watch the Kardashians? Nobody gives a shit about the Kardashians. People are infatuated with watching how people who make $19 million a year are sitting around doing nothing live. So it's all about the money, okay? That's what I'm trying to get at. It's about the money. And when you see that a movie producer says he's going to put millions and millions and millions of dollars and like hundreds of millions of dollars into movies like Avatar, right? These big budget films, blah, blah, blah. You like, oh my God, I really want to go see what they did. When you find out Quantum Break has this huge budget, these big movie stars in it, Microsoft Studios said endless money to basically be thrown at Remedy. make this thing amazing. I got to be honest with you. That's what makes it AAA. At this point as a consumer, I'm willing and take it with a grain of salt. $60, $70, $80, I'm in. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you that money because I'm interested in seeing what you have to do. You know, people are like, well, that's bullshit, Mooch. It's not about just the money that goes into it. What are you trying to tell me? A game like Journey? A game like, you know what I mean? Like a game like Journey is not as good as a game like Quantum Break. That's exactly what I'm saying. You know, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't enjoy it, but I'm not going to enjoy a 15-minute like indie development film that's on PBS as much as I'm going to enjoy the next Independence Day. You know, like people need to stop with this whole like, you know, everyone's got this really artsy fartsy kind of mentality nowadays where they're just like, you know, everything has got to be, you know, give the little guy. The little guy should get a lot of respect. Okay, it's hard to be the little guy. But don't shit on the big guy either, because the big guy is also giving you the entertainment that we all look forward to, you know? So, I mean, I guess to answer the question, I you know me, Blam, I do this even more just bullshit. I go off on a rant. But, like, literally, I think personally it is budget and not just the longevity of the game, but the depth of, like, how detailed does the game get? Does it get into like you say the crafting system? Is there a story? What kind of who wrote the story? What about the sound? I mean, take the sound, take the music score out of Halo, take it out of Ori, take it. What do you have left? There's a lot missing, right? But like you're not going to get that kind of music, Blam, by me and you fucking getting a trumpet and a fucking snare drum. You know what I mean? Like you need money, man. You need cash. So like you don't put, so it is budget and it is longevity and depth. And that's how what I'm interested to hear what you think a AAA like needs to have.
AAA, the line's getting blurred because like Desert She Wolf just mentioned in the comment section, shout out Wolf, you know, Ori and the Blind Forest is a anomaly. We don't usually. I can't even call it an indie. You know, people throw it in that category, but it was way more than an indie. But I guess for the sake of the discussion here, I guess you could still call it an indie technically. But that game is the type of game that doesn't come around too often. That really blurs the line between an indie and a AAA. That game, it could have been I mean, I call it like a AA more so, but it had AAA quality all over it. But you're not going to typically get that out of indie games. So I agree with you. You know, budget marketing is always big when it comes to you know, showing the size. That's like take for instance, you know, it's like a NFL franchise like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're in the NFL, correct? Yes. They're an NFL team, correct?
Good example.
You don't see them all over the place like Tom Brady and the Patriots, though, do you? You don't see every other. You don't see who's a Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback. You don't see him on American Express commercials and Denny's commercials and things like that, but they do both play in the NFL. So they're both video games, but they're not. It's a higher echelon, a higher caliber. So I mean, that goes into it. You know, it's not quality over quantity, obviously, because there are some very, very high quality indies also too that I think sometimes push the boundaries even further than these AAA games that we get. So we're not talking about creativity or anything like that. We're just talking the fact that, you know, these are games that, like Mooch said, we all look forward to every year. Whether or not you're a Call of Duty fan, Assassin's Creed, there are still a huge number of people that go out and purchase those games just because they're annual, because they're known, they're marketed, you know, they're pretty much shoved down everybody's throat to become established franchises. So, you know, it's things like that that make it different for me, you know, when you got to look at an indie and a AAA game.
I agree. Well put.
All right, so let's see what we got here, everybody.
I got a question here from Jamie Moran. It's out of the Twitter feed, but he's listening to the show.
All right.
He said, "Do you think Sony is going after franchises that people associate with Xbox?" And I think that's an outstanding question, Jamie. And I'm also glad. I hope your hangover is fading away fast, because those are some funny tweets and videos you sent out last night. So I'll take it away, Blam, if you don't mind. You just
go ahead.
Talked. Basically, yes. And here's the deal. Sony right now reminds me of a real smooth character that was in high school that just copied off of your homework, and he was looking over his shoulder to try to grab your test answers, excuse me. Here's the thing. they're not doing anything this generation. If someone said to anybody who's a Sony fan, what is Sony doing that makes this feel like next gen? They'd be like, So, right? I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing to be said. There's nothing at all to be said. What is the PS4 giving you that's next generation? They're not even giving you games of this generation. So they're not giving you anything really, okay? So with that being said, what is Sony really doing? We've said it a number of times on many podcasts, is they're stealing Don Matrick and the 360's notes, okay? So, what Jamie's actually asking right now is he's saying, are they going after franchises and games that Xbox used to be associated with? So when you think in your head Call of Duty, you think Xbox, right?
Yeah.
So now the rumor was, and it's rumor because now I'm hearing 50-50. It used to be almost a sure thing. Now I'm hearing 50-50 on the rumor that they're saying Sony may be getting Mass Effect, Andromeda, for the marketing deal. Nothing's exclusive, but just the marketing deals. And what Sony's doing is they're like, hey, listen, I'm telling you, this is generally what's happening at Sony of America, or Sony Corporation of America. They're sitting around saying, do we have any new games coming out after Uncharted? Kinda, not really. Okay, why don't we do this? Take 25, 30 million, lock down these big things with marketing deal. We need to fool the public. It worked for Microsoft last gen. Let's see if we can fool the public into thinking that these other games are ours and only ours. And we'll see what happens. So they do it with Call of Duty. They did it with Star Wars. They're gonna try and do it with Mass Effect. That's the rumor. I don't think so. I think Mass Effect will say, because don't forget, Blam, Mass Effect 1 was I want to say that was exclusive to Xbox. Mass Effect 2 and 3 came out. 2 came out on PS3 way after, like a year after it released on Xbox 360. My months might be off a little bit, but whatever. It was exclusive for a certain period of time, and then 3 released on both. But my point is that when you think Mass Effect, you think Xbox. Now, Xbox took the same gamble with Titanfall. I'm still holding out. I'm probably only got a 10% chance at this point, but I'm still holding out. The Titanfall 2 is exclusive to Xbox One and Windows 10. If not, we're going to see if the roll of the dice Microsoft did last time. When Titanfall 2 comes out, since 10 million people are playing it between Xbox and Windows 10, are we going to find out whether or not, that the name stuck? And maybe now when you go buy Titanfall 2, you would rather play it on an Xbox One? Who knows? We'll find out. That's part of the gamble. So to answer Jamie's question, I think they are. And the reason they're doing it, Jamie, is because they don't have anything else coming down the pipeline. They don't have any money. They've just consolidated their company. All Sony's been doing for the past 2 years is breaking off parts of their division by selling it, closing them down, and consolidating. And eventually, if you don't believe me, go watch MSNBC's. The show's called The Prophet. It's a man who's a very wealthy man in America, and he goes and invests in companies that need help. Basically, one of the things he always said was, when you're a big company that's struggling after a while, and you keep reducing and reducing and reducing, what happens is eventually you cut your quality in employees, and your actual quality gets cut in half. And then what happens is, so your numbers are lower, your bottom line's lower as far as your bills, so you're able to stay afloat, but the quality of what you used to put out is nowhere near what it used to be, and eventually you collapse. So am I saying Sony's going to collapse? I'm saying Sony will not collapse today. If VR collapses, Sony's in a lot of trouble. That's all I'm going to say. So yes, they are following Microsoft 360's, Xbox 360's genius scheme that a few people had something to do with. A lot of credit goes to Don Matrick on that. But that's what they're doing because they don't have anything else coming down the pipeline. But that's my take on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sony's numbers are up. I mean, I did see some figures as far as year over year. PS4 did make them more money this year than I believe it has ever had. So I just seen a topic a few days ago on that. So they are making a little bit of money off the PS4, but it's not anything that's going to continue to hold the company afloat. But it definitely is a positive sign that it's going in the right direction. And shout out to Ron too. He did say Phil Spencer is a BioWare fan and said he won't let Sony get that deal. We were talking about, kind of piggyback off what you were saying, Mooch, about the whole Mass Effect.
I hope he's right.
I don't know. That's kind of that game. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be probably a top 2, top 3 big game once it comes out. Mass Effect has a huge following. It's like Fallout, and that they don't come out that often, and they're like events when they do come out. So people really get behind those type of franchises. But I don't know. I mean, it could be 50-50. I could see Sony getting it. I can also see Xbox getting it. I mean, if Xbox decides to get it, Phil does go that route. I think it's a great acquisition. I think what they're doing with the division. I think they picked a thoroughbred to get behind in the division, and if they can get behind Mass Effect, it'll be a hit. Because like Mooch said before, it's that game, and I believe if I'm correct, I was talking with somebody the other day, and they were saying that BioWare initially had a a 3 game deal with Microsoft, and something happened after that first Mass Effect. So I think the franchise was supposed to be 1, 2, and 3 were supposed to be exclusive. Now, if I'm wrong, just go ahead and throw that in the comments, everybody. But yeah, just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just one of those things which you just got to be. What time will tell. We'll see what's going on with that. So you happen to see any other questions in the chat? Are they good?
Desert She-Wolf actually is an interesting question here. I'm trying to find it again now.
Okay.
He said, do you think they overcharge for indies? And if so, how should a indie cost be judged?
Okay.
I like that because first of all, I'm not a big fan of indies. For some reason, here's the reason I'm not a fan of indies, and the reason the media is a lot of people that work in the media are probably between the ages of like 21 and 30.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm in my mid 30s, and like to be honest with you, like indie games are the games of the 80s. Like those are the games we already played. I played those for the 80s and 90s. I just don't feel like I need that 2D scroller anymore. You know what I mean? I thought we moved on from that. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It goes like that in a lot of ways. Like, does music reinvent itself? Absolutely. Like, look at all the beats, right, from the 60s, 70s, 80s that are still in today's music, but they take it and they run with it. They took the old beat, okay? You want to call it a remix, call it whatever you want, but they take the old beat and they turn it into something that's today. It's modern, okay?
Yeah.
My point is that's not what indie developers are doing. Indie developers are taking what we played in the 90s and just making another version of it. Like, let's take, for example, Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is a 2D scroller that plays like part DuckTales and part Mega Man, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it's no different. There's nothing added. What am I getting in Shovel Knight that I don't get in DuckTales or Mega Man? Nothing. Like nothing. But like when you listen to I don't even know who that is. I don't know if it's Fallout Boy or whatever that song is. They have a song out right now where they take the theme music from the Munsters. You know what I'm talking about? And they put that into a beat, and it's still number 1 on the charts. Like that's crazy, right? Like the reason Shovel Knight's not number 1 on the charts and nobody's buying all these whacked out indies is because they're not taking the old ideas and advancing with them. Like do something different with it. And you go, well, what, Mooch? What do you want them to do? That's not my job. You know what I mean? That's not what I do. I don't know. I mean, if you want to pay me to do that, I'll come up with some ideas. I don't really know. As far as cost goes, I can't really see an indie, $15. $15. Like everyone wrote me, they're like, Mooch, you really need to try Oxenfree. Mooch, you really need to buy soccer cars. I'm not paying $20 for an indie. I'm not. 15 bugs me. Because to be honest with you, why? Why am I paying $15 for an 8-bit game that's story-based with no action in it? Right? I mean, Oxenfree is getting really good reviews, and to its credit, I'm sure it's a great game. But $20 for 4 hours? No action? Walk around, read something, walk a little further, talk and read to something. Like I don't understand why is that $20? Shouldn't that be like $10 or $5?
Yeah,
or
$5 or $10 somewhere around there.
I mean, I don't understand where they're coming up with that. So to answer I'm not really able to answer the question because I don't know how they would judge it. Maybe they need to get a publisher to back them up. Stop asking for Kickstarters. Do your job, make a better game, and get somebody that wants to fucking publish it. How about that? Instead of wasting time on Kickstarter begging. I guess I don't know how else to do because once you have a publisher or someone to back you, Blam, you could probably get a $20 game, a little bit lower so that you can get it to like, between $10 and $15. Yeah. And I think you'll get more people to buy it that way. I'm not sure to answer. It's a great question. I don't know if I necessarily have an answer for that.
What do you think? I mean, cost of indies. I mean, like I said, some games blur the line a little bit. There are games now, Mooch, that kind of fall into this weird category. Like I said before, Ori is the perfect example. Ori is worth $40. You know what I'm saying? Like retail, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But should it really sell for $40? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still a side scroller 2D, as beautiful as it is. as tight the gameplay is, as beautiful that orchestra and the music is, as high quality as it is, it's still a 2D side scroller. You know what I'm saying? You're not reinventing the wheel. So I probably wouldn't pay. Well, I would pay 40 for it, but just in a vacuum here, since we're talking about the subject, $15. Somewhere around there, 10 to $15 is about right. I mean, you don't want to get too much higher than that because I mean, what's the average price of a DLC? $30 now, 20, 30, right?
29 to $39. Yeah,
29 to $39. So yeah, if you're getting DLC for a AAA game at $30, you can't have an indie with even less content than a DLC be right around the same price. So
right.
I'm thinking $15, $10 is about right. So that's a great question too, She Wolf, because never really thought about that before. But yeah, I say 10 to $15 is about the sweet spot. So I had a great question. It wasn't really a question, but it was more like a statement. This guy said, shout out to Chris. This is on Twitter. He said, "Could Phil have gotten a Left 4 Dead 3 deal because he was meeting with Valve people a few years ago and Left 4 Dead 2 back and pat?" So it's kind of one of those pie in the sky questions. I don't know how accurate. I didn't know he had ever met with Valve at all. Maybe he did. I'm not sure. I have to do some research on that. But do you think it's a possibility? I mean, even a long shot that we get a Left 4 Dead 3 exclusive, or maybe marketing rights for Left 4 Dead 3? What do you think about that?
Left 4 Dead 3 for me personally is like it's like a loaded gun. Because it was part of what Microsoft had as their repertoire. People just associated Left 4 Dead with Microsoft, and I think 1 and 2 are still only on 360. They're on PC, but PC and 360. I don't think they're on PS3. I think Phil really should lock down a Left 4 Dead 3. There's something to be said again for putting the name. Like I said, look at. So Big Mac is for sale at Burger King. It's not the same. You know what I mean? It's got to be at McDonald's. I don't know why. You walk in, it's the environment that whether you like the smell or you hate it, it is what it is. It's all part of that experience. Left 4 Dead is just shooters are better on Microsoft system. Thank the controller, thank the online, thank whatever you like. But that's what it is, and that's not my fault. Don't get mad at me for stating, it's an opinion. But it's kind of fact. And if you don't believe me, I would love somebody to go and interview after the contract is over, the people that are playing the Call of Duty championships. And right now they're forced to play with a DualShock 4. Do you understand there's got to be some angry people behind the scenes that are the players? I mean, they've been playing on an Xbox controller. Everyone knows the Xbox controller. If you're over the age of 21, the Xbox controller is a much more comfortable controller. And if you own an Elite controller, there's nothing else that touches it. I've heard,
man. I don't own one yet, but bad. I want one of those things bad.
Blam, it's off the hook, and I'll tell you, it's not about saying, "Oh, I got." It's not. It's literally just it's the next generation in controller. Okay, it is what it is. So it's like when power steering got introduced to the automobile. Okay, it's not saying that your car wasn't any good, but my God, I can turn my car now with my pinky finger, and you have to use 2 hands and fucking sweat. There's a difference. It's just a better device. It is what it is. It's evolution. And
so Left 4 Dead makes sense?
Left 4 Dead makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And I think the Left 4 Dead 2 coming back on, you have no idea. I'm sitting here. I saw all the screenshots of people playing Left 4 Dead 2. I was running home from work with Left 4 Dead. I was like, I am popping that disc in and playing tonight. And then everyone told me, no, it's not ready yet. Or we haven't heard anything official from Microsoft. So I had to chill out. What do you think, buddy? Left 4 Dead hold anything with you?
Yeah, it holds a lot of weight. It's a great franchise. I mean, sorry, and I'm chewing here because I'm trying to get a little snack in between. Sorry about that, everybody. Live and sorry.
Live.
All right, so yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I always thought Left 4 Dead would be that huge game, especially on the Xbox Live. Xbox Live service is fantastic. It just holds up a little bit better. I mean, I think that's one of those games that just the community needs that game. Like we've been asking for Left 4 Dead. They don't come out often. When did Left 4 Dead 2 come out?
Oh God,
the year like 2000 and
shit. 2010.
Anybody know in the comment section? I can't. I want to say I want to say like at least 10.
I'll look it up while you keep going.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly anybody, but if anybody knows when Left 4 Dead 2 come out, but they don't come out often. And this is a game that it really needs to come out. 2009.
Okay. All right.
2009 it was. So it's been a long time since that game came out. 6-7 years now at this point. It's getting in Last Guardian territory. So people want this game. They need it. Honestly, it really is. I mean,
It
it's
is.
becoming one of those. And I'm not a fan of Gabe Newell. I'll say it 10 times out of 10. I'm not a huge fan of Gabe Newell at all. I don't. I mean, Steam is great, I guess, for people who play on PC, but I'm not a huge fan of his. I mean, he's way too artsy for me. He takes the innocence out of games and the fun out of it. And he says, "Well, it's art, and I'll put it out when I feel like it's right." It's not a fucking Thanksgiving turkey, dude. People want the game. Like, put the shit out. Like, what are you holding on to it for? We all know what's the biggest unicorn as far as a video game. You tell me what's the biggest unicorn?
It's got to be that Last Guardian. Who the hell knows?
No, Half-Life.
Oh, Half-Life 2. That's right.
Yeah.
Half-Life. Yeah, that's right.
How long has that game been in development or supposed?
They take for fuck ever. Like you said, they think it's some kind of. They're making this thing into a. Listen, if it's already big and people are making it big, why are you trying to make it bigger? All you're doing is actually deflating the balloon. I don't understand that.
That is exactly my point. I mean, look at Half-Life 2. I mean, my God, like all they'd have to do right now, Valve, is put up a black canvas and put Half-Life 2 on it, and the internet to go crazy. That's literally all they have to do. So I love the game. I love the title. I hope Left 4 Dead 3 does come out at some point. I think it would really fit with Microsoft's mantra. It'd be a great game to at least get the marketing deals on because it's going to do numbers. It's going to be huge. People want the game. People have been wanting it for a long time. And I guess if it does end up being back compat, that could be a good sign that there may have been talks between Xbox and Valve. So I guess we'll wait and see.
Blam, before we go to our next question,
go ahead.
I think you're onto something there because every game that does come out on backwards compatibility, look at they did the Rainbow Sixes. Rainbow Six came out with a marketing deal, right? The Witcher, they had the marketing deal. So this may be something where we're seeing something preemptively where, Left 4 Dead 3 may be announced maybe at Microsoft's, I don't know if it'll be at the February thing, but it may be at E3. And when they have, somebody come out from Valve and be like, Left 4 Dead 3, I'm hoping they say exclusive on Xbox One. That would be really sweet. But when you buy it, or if it's not and it goes on both, they could say, well, when you buy that, you get Left 4 Dead 2 free backwards compatible.
Bingo.
And that's huge.
Bingo. And then we've said this too, Mooch. In our last podcast, we were actually talking about that, how backwards compatibility, if it's marketed correctly, could be huge because, these are people these are their first consoles.
Right.
And they haven't gotten a chance to play these other titles. So, and you're right too. A lot of these games have preemptively been put on backwards compatibility lists, and then we've seen them bundled with the game that Microsoft happens to have the marketing deal with. So I think it's something that definitely we could, if we do end up getting Left 4 Dead 2, it may be a telltale sign that something's going on with Microsoft and Left 4 Dead 3. So, if you kind of look at the trends, then, it may end up being that way. So let's see what else we have here. Any other questions you got?
I got one here.
Okay, go ahead.
From Aaron Scorpter. He says, will Uncharted 4 suffer another delay? I heard the other day that it is still suffering from a lot of bugs. I got a weird feeling that I don't think it's going to be delayed again. Because here's the deal. If it gets delayed again, it's not going to get pushed to May. It's going to get pushed to November. The only way they're going to do that, I'm already on record saying there's no way that Horizon game is coming out this fall. And I have a but as well. So Horizon's not coming out in the fall.
Okay.
And if it does, it's going to be broken. It'll be a broken game that Sony had to push out the door because they don't have you. This will be their third Christmas. Okay. Wait, 13, 14, 15. No, actually, no, it's their fourth Christmas, third year without having a AAA release. Really, that's big. That's massive.
Yeah.
And Horizon's a new IP. So we know how that does, right? With everybody. I don't care if you got 36 million install base, which you don't have 36 million install base. There's 36 million somewhere sitting in a store. But, they literally, there's no way a new IP is going to grab that many in sales numbers. Maybe they'll do like what Bloodborne did after 2 months, 3 months, they'll crack 1 million. But they're not going to delay Uncharted 4 again because it's just really bad press. The press is going to have a hard time explaining why the fourth time. but I do think they're having a lot of problems. And actually, here's an interesting story that everyone would like to hear. There's a lot of people in the Xbox community that for some reason, I don't know, who knows, maybe something happened to them personally. I don't know what it is, but they go from like ridiculously like super Xbox to like, all of a sudden they become like a horse and pony herder, and they switch right over to Sony. And I look at, you can like whatever you like. You don't have to just stay on one side or the other. But like, I can't believe how people go from Xbox supporter to like insanely against Xbox. So I'm talking to this person on Twitter the other day, and they were saying something along the lines of like, oh Lord, now I can't remember what he was saying, but something like Xbox, you're going in too hard on Xbox being like this and that. And Sony, the Sony like games that are coming out, they don't hold any clout anymore. Like Blam, I don't understand where people are actually standing up for games like the Uncharted collection, which is like having serious problems. They've had 3 stage demos. One was frozen. The other one locked the character in midair. And the other one, like they literally, what was it? The controller died or something like that. They got stuck.
Yeah, no, that was at E3 this year. That was at E3 last year. It froze. I heard somebody was saying, the controller died. Well, I've never had to turn my console all the way off and reset the entire console just because my controller died.
Right. And then I said to the guy, I said, listen, you got to stop sticking up for Sony here. I said, there's a problem. And I said, they're having a problem at Naughty Dog. And he goes, Naughty Dog's one of the most sophisticated software companies. And I said, listen, they aren't anymore because they're not the same Naughty Dog. When they fired Amy Hennig and they got rid of the another creative director and a lot of the artists left, and they got rid of so many people. The Naughty Dog of today is not the Naughty Dog that made The Last of Us, Uncharted 3 and beyond and backwards, because that was all by a different group of people. Now you just have Neil Druckmann and the other guy, and that's it. That's it. The rest, they had to go out and hire new people. It's not the same artwork as where I'm going with this, Blam. So Uncharted 4 has got serious problems, I think. So I just don't think that it's going to be the game. Here's what it is. It's going to be the next continuation in the series. It's not going to be anything like evolutionary. It's just going to be revolutionary. You know what I mean?
And honestly, I'm not an insider or anything like that. I don't claim to be an insider or anything like that, but I have heard from a few different people. These people have different sources, whatever the case may be. I don't know, but it's just speculation. I'm not saying it as a fact, but that game is really been tough. Uncharted 4, I'm speaking here, has really had a rough development cycle. And I'm hearing this is straight from like the horse's mouth on this. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to put any names out there. It's just conjecture, just speculation. But we know it's been documented, like you were just talking about, that it's been delayed many times. They've had to change writers, change direction a couple times to the actual story of the game, different things like that. So I don't know, Mooch. I heard this game, there could possibly be another delay. I don't think it's going to be another delay. I think there's a 99% chance it's going to stick to its actual date, even if it has to get patched later or whatever's wrong with the game. If the game comes out fantastic, then we're all sitting up here saying, oh, it's a great Uncharted game. So who knows at this point? But I'm just hearing that it has had a shit ton of issues in the development cycle with that game. So,
well, think about it. They released the beta, right? They released the beta, Blam, and then all of a sudden, right after the beta finishes, we hear about a delay. So that's a lot of fan feedback, player feedback. They're finding stuff out that we didn't even read about. They're having issues, and it's funny. I found a clip from IGN, and it was a news report that came out from Neil Druckmann that said after Amy Hennig left Naughty Dog, this will not impact our schedule and delivery date for Uncharted 4. That was back a year and change ago. And they've already had to shift it to the right 3 times. Major issues without these people there. So just goes to show that Sony and the people that work for Sony, they lie after lie after lie. That's all they do, dude. It's just lies. And the problem is you have these poor consumers in America that are just buying every single thing that they say. Just read it, people. Stop. You don't want to believe me? Don't believe me. It's fine. You don't have to. Open your eyes. Like, go to Wikipedia, look at dates, look at what people said on IGN, because you guys love IGN. IGN's, Sony headquarters. Go there and read it. It's all in black and white. You know what I mean? It's not very. Neil Druckmann came out, Blam. He said, we will not have any schedule issues with the departure of Amy Hennig. They've had 3 delays. It's bullshit. So they just lie. But listen, he didn't have to lie. We knew you were going to run into a problem. How can you tell me the creative art style director leaves Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. Uncharted 4 is coming out. You fire her, you start the script over again. You're not going to have a delay? I mean, I don't know. I'm not even in the business. That sounds like a delay's on the way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's and like I said before. I mean, I've heard just rumblings. Like I said before, I don't know exactly how accurate they are, but that game has really had a rough time in development. So we'll definitely see where that's going to go. I still think it'll make its release date, though. I don't think they'll have a problem doing
Yeah, I think
that,
they'll
but
make it too.
we'll
I'm with
see.
you on that, Blam.
Yeah. So let's see what else we got in the question section here, guys. We'll take what's fair. We'll take like three more questions.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, we'll take like three more. Let's
Let me
see what
check
else we got
Twitter.
in here.
See if there's any
Yeah,
on
check Twitter too. See what we have. Anybody got any more questions for us? Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's see.
There's a question here. Basically, I'm
Okay, go
kind
ahead.
of picking it up. It says here, Kyle Dawson, who writes a lot on Emerald Reporter, is at Emerald Reporter. He writes here.
Okay.
Jonathan Blow is backtracking now. He's now groveling at Xbox to let him back in. And that's his opinion. Basically, I think what he's saying here with the question, I'm going to turn his statement into a question here because he says basically, do you think now with the pirating issues that are going on with PC and you can pirate games on PlayStation 4, Jonathan Blow's not making a whole lot of money on The Witness. The Witness is being basically robbed. They're saying now Blow's in talks with Microsoft to get it on their console because it's a much harder console. It's a much harder system to hack, and he wants to make some money. So
That's interesting.
yeah. So do I think that he's doing that? I don't know. This guy was such a pompous ass. It's hard to really say whether or not he would actually go back and eat crow and basically say I was, all right, oops, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have come out and said that. Do I think Microsoft would let them on the platform? Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think Microsoft has an issue with that at all. It's just a matter of this guy's pride. So do I think it's going to happen? I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. But do I see a light at the end of the tunnel for him? Yeah, I could see them possibly eventually, depending on how big this pirating scandal actually is. These guys, they don't want to talk bad about PlayStation or PC ever. So it's a very bland headline. It's just the Witness having pirating issues when realistically it's getting pirated left and right, and Jonathan Blow is seeing zero money come in. In that case, they're going to need he's going to need Microsoft's help in that essence. So, what do you think? Do you think someone like his stature would come back and say something like that?
I don't know. I mean, he was really jerkish. It's very, very evident that he's not a huge Microsoft fan. You can see the tweets, you see the articles, different things like that. The little jab he throws from time to time. But I mean, it's a game. Phil open him and welcome arms. You know how Phil is. He's a games guy, and he. I don't think there's any doubt that if the guy is going to Xbox and say, hey, I really want to. Well, for whatever reason, whether it just be monetary reasons, he wants to see the game grow and sales grow, then yeah. But I definitely think you'd see it on Xbox if he is truly doing that. So I don't really have an issue with it. I mean, the game really isn't all that appealing in my opinion for me in particular. So I can't speak for anybody else on that. For me, I'm not really hyped out over that game anyway. So
no,
I did get a great question here, Mooch. A really good question from Delilah HD. Shout out Delilah. She was on the podcast last podcast. So shout out Delilah. It says, and I know this is something that Mooch, I may have to give you your own time slot on this because this is something that you've been really adamant. So the question is, how do you feel about Square Enix limited Xbox One support? And there's actually, if you think about the question, there's really different levels to that question. So I want to break it down for you before I go ahead and let you answer that question.
Go ahead.
That question is like a loaded question, as you would say. Like, the fact that Square Enix is a Japanese company, so that there's that. The fact that the Xbox One brand has literally no presence in Japan, and there's also that. So I kind of want you to answer them in that particular order, because there's different levels to that question. But I know you're very adamant about this type of subject. So go ahead and what do you think about their limited support of Xbox Square Enix?
Well, I mean, in what essence? I mean, Square Enix, like the whole Final Fantasy thing, or
the Final Fantasy thing, the Tomb Raider thing that fell apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, listen. Okay, you guys know this is all in my wheelhouse. Okay. This is tinfoil hat shit because you can't prove it, and it's just like old school politics. you know, shit you're never going to find out. But to be honest with you, Japan stays with Japan. Okay. You don't want to believe me with the Square Enix thing. Take a look at the Hideo Kojima. You know, he gets kicked out of Konami. You know, someone in this country, when you get kicked out of a big American company, you're like, screw you, Apple. I'll show you. I'm going to Samsung. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not what they do in Japan. Screw you, Konami. I'm going across the street to Sony, where they treat us like shit there too. And it's like, all right. So like all it is they just keep on, they stick to their own. It's the same reason why 99 Xbox Ones were sold last week in Japan. They're going to buy their own brand. It's not necessarily always that they hate us. It's not that they always hate us. It depends on the scenario. In this case, it's not that they hate us, but they put Japan over anybody else. Okay. And that's something that maybe, just maybe, we should do in this country. Okay. Have a little pride for your country. You know, you like walking down the street and enjoying all the great things we have in this country. Well, how about sticking up for it once in a while? That's what they do over there. It's no more, no less. It's not magic. You know, they see a Japan product on the shelf, and they see the same project, the same exact product, but it's got an American flag on it. They buy the Japanese one. Okay, so that's not where the hate comes. The hate comes from. For me, I say, well, Kojima makes a okay game. He doesn't make anything great lately. He hasn't made anything great. Metal Gear Solid 5 was not a great game. It was an okay game. After 45 minutes, it was just the same. You repeat and rinse for the next 4 or 5 or 10 hours. You know, this guy, he also had the goal to release Ground Zeroes for $30, and that was a 20-minute demo.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's just talk, you know, call a spade a spade. They stick to their own. So the Square Enix stuff, you can see there's just something underlying in the way that they allowed the Tomb Raider information to get out ahead of time. Microsoft probably did have some legal come in. I heard rumors that when they announced that PlayStation would be getting it, I heard that it was then Microsoft that said, well, now that you did that and you broke, you know, our contract, we want the time double. I heard it went from 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Based upon that ill-advised public announcement.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's to answer the question and answer you, Blam, you know, it's really that they just stick to their own. And instead of me getting upset about it, all I would say to everybody listening, if you happen to pay taxes and you live in the United States and you have a company that's your company from your country and they make the exact same thing, buy the multi-plat, buy the console of your country, just like they do over there. No different. Be the same. Do what they do. That's never going to change, Blam. You're always going to have Japanese companies stick with Japanese companies. You know,
yeah.
Even
that's
have
just, that's just the culture there.
Isn't it in their law too, Blam? Isn't it in their law? Like,
you know what? I'm not exactly sure about the law, but I just think it's a cultural thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what I meant. Let me explain before people take that and they run with it the wrong way. What I meant by that, Blam, was not the law to buy a PS4, not an Xbox One. No, that's not the law. No, the law I was talking about was like people were saying Microsoft should go buy Capcom. Okay, well, there's a law in Japan of some sort of trade or a big business law or something they have where you can't sell a Japanese company to an outside Japanese company. You can, but it has to go through various steps and you know, courts and this.
You know, the funny thing is that's ironic because I found because I was looking at it when this was last year, 2 years ago when they were talking about that whole Capcom MS buying Capcom deal. And I looked it up and I sent shout out Zaire Next Gen 720. I sent him a link on like that. It was some little marketing link, not marketing, but like a business link on how American companies can purchase Japanese companies. So there is a way, like you were saying, but it is a process. So.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. There is a process to do it, but the thing about it that's really troublesome is that they have that rule in place. Like, it's another thing that I'm trying to say to you that like the Japanese are just not allowed. They're shunned. You're shunned. They're shamed if you buy an American or another country's product over your own. But then again, then we get on BGST or here and we're like, hey, buy American. People are like, fuck yourself. And you're like, what? Why? What did I say wrong? Like, why is it we can't have that pride over here, but they can have it over there? I'm not saying you don't like Japanese products. They make great products. Like, you know, I have a PS4, but I'm certainly not going to, you know, advertise a place. They haven't given me anything. One person said something. They're like, you need to stop complaining, Mooch. Stop complaining about this. I said, listen, they said, you need to start giving Sony credit. I said, I don't give credit. You have to earn it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to just get on every month and people are like, well, props to Sony for selling 36 million. They didn't do anything but fool you. Okay. That's like, if I'm going to thank Sony and praise Sony for fooling you, then I have to write a tweet right after to fucking David Blaine and fucking all the other magicians that fooled everybody. Like, I'm not writing tweets to fucking all these magicians, and I'm certainly not going to write one to fucking Sony. All they did was pull the wool over your eyes. Everybody that has a PS4 right now is listening to this podcast is not playing a game. You will not be playing a PlayStation game tonight. You will not be playing a AAA first-party game on PlayStation tonight. You will not. You'll be playing Division Beta, or you'll be playing Fallout 4. Like, it's just ridiculous. But all the people we had on the podcast last night on Crossfire, they're like, yo, I can't wait till later on tonight. We're going to be playing Halo. Who's playing Tomb Raider later? You know what I mean? Like, there's just shit that Xbox gives you that Sony doesn't. Open your eyes, buy American.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. That's why I think Mooch summed up that question. Wrap that question up. I knew once I saw that, I'm like, this is all Mooch. That's for sure.
Shit. Yep.
All right. So let's see. I think we'll take one or two more questions at the most, and then we'll wrap it up. So like I figured we'll take two. You get one, and I get one, Mooch.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So just if you even on Twitter, you can check the questions there. Everybody, you want to get your last two questions in?
Let's take a look here.
Yeah, let's get everybody. Just go ahead and throw your questions in the chat there.
Let's see here.
Let's see what else we got. I'm gonna make sure it's a good one.
This is not necessarily a question, but I gotta say a shout out to my boy, and he's been on your show a bunch of times too, Blam. Livewire, man.
Yeah.
Great YouTube channel. If you guys don't subscribe to Livewire's channel, go check him out. First of all, he's got one of the best intros. But literally, he asked this. He says, should Microsoft do fake leaks that exclusives are going to PC a month before release to generate media buzz? That's really interesting because that is the mirrored reflection. That is exactly the opposite of what Sony's been doing to try and counter good press for Microsoft. So, the other day when Microsoft had some information coming out, the beta was coming out for Division exclusively. That was when somehow some mysterious thing happened where the Brazilian government said that Quantum Break is coming to PC. And then it took everybody in the world to figure out that all you got to do is go ask Microsoft or look into it a little bit to find out that it's an Xbox One exclusive. It is not coming to PC. And if it is, it's 24 months away, people. Okay, 24 months away. You'll forget about Quantum Break in 24 months unless there's a sequel. So my point being is what Live is saying here, which is interesting, is maybe use that same tactic in their favor. Yeah, it's going to give you negative press initially, but then at the end, what you do is you say, oh, yeah, we were thinking about doing it on PC. And then at the end, you're like, nah, we're not going to put it on PC. Fuck PC. You know what I mean? Like, so they're not going to say that, but you know what I'm trying to say? So it generates this buzz. It gives them this huge media storm that's kind of made up. I like that because what's happening is pretty much the opposite. Whenever Microsoft said anything good, Sony either revolts with sales figures or you see a mysterious news article come out about a PC, an exclusive from Xbox going to PC, right? Isn't it timed out so lovely? Come on, we're not stupid anymore, man.
Or like right after, or earlier this year in January when they had the PlayStation Network down. Was down for 12 hours that one day and it was having issues that week. Literally like a day or two after, because the only thing that was announced, only apology you got was from Yoshida on Twitter just saying, hey, it's back up, everybody. Sorry about that. After the whole situation was taken care of. And then like a day or two after that, you got some sales figures or something like that. It was they have now reached 30 million, consoles or something like that.
And listen, the first couple times it was announced, Blam, think about it. Like that was like, oh wow, okay. Now it's like every time Microsoft has good news, out pops a sales figure. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, thanks, Sony. Thanks for the update. We don't make any money off of you. Like pretty soon it's not. We knew it was arrogant on the Xbox side years ago. Like a year and a half ago, it was arrogant. Mm-hmm. Now even Sony fans are like, dude, we get it. You sold a lot of them. Congratulations. When's my check coming in the mail? If it's not, shut the fuck up. But like what I was gonna say was not to go back 2 questions, but Worrywart. Shout out to Worrywart. He sent me a shot and a link of Jonathan Blow, who tweeted this out. Now that we are done with the initial launch, we are going to look into the possibility of going into Xbox One. So it looks like we are going into Xbox One territory here, folks. Does that mean it's going to happen tomorrow? maybe
Yeah,
not. But
yeah.
the fact that it's even coming out of his mouth when he's pretty much eating crow, that was huge. That is huge.
Yeah.
Thanks, Worry, for the link. I
All right,
appreciate it.
all right. So
Follow.
I think I got a question here. Looks like
Okay.
this will be our. It's actually really two good questions here. Two really good ones. Maybe we'll take both. One is from one is from J Long. Shout out J Long 908 in the comment section down here in the live chat. He said, "What is your take on only 9 games selling over 1 million on PC and 17 physical only games on Xbox One selling over 1 million copies?" So I don't know. You may be more in tune with this, Mooch, and I'm gonna just leave this up to you. But um, it
It-
we PC games, you're seeing it now with the whole witness situation. A lot of people don't buy or purchase their games on PC outright. There's a lot of times, the game gets pirated. A lot of sales get missed because of the pirating. We do console for the ease of use. We do console for the fact that when we purchase the game, we know it's going to work when we put it in. You can't say the same for PC also too. But I really wanted to get your opinion on that. What do you think about, I guess, games being selling better on console than the same titles coming out on PC?
You kind of knocked it out of the park already, Blam, when you said that we go to console for ease of use. I mean, myself personally, I work very hard all day. I don't get home till about I'm out of the house about 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't get home till after 6. That's a long day at work, and you got stuff you got to do when you get to the house. You know this. We got to take care of the family, the kids, this and that. Homework's got to be done with them. Dinner, get everything cleaned up, get ready for the next day. And then when you sit down, I don't feel like wondering if my 970 Ti with the Velcro strap and 3 fans on it, my GPU for my PC, is ready, willing, and able to handle the Division beta. You know what I mean? Like, all I want to know is when I get home, I'm playing the Division. So I take the disc out if it's physical, or if it's digital, I click the pin, and I'm playing the game. And the guy who's sitting there playing the PC game and he can see a little bit more of the snowflake that's falling down in the Division than I can, my hat goes off to you, brother. Congratulations. You know what I mean? I also paid $350 for my console, and you paid $3,500 for yours. Look, It is what it is. But to get back to Jay Long's question, it does tie into that story, because the reason is the people on PC are pirating games. Why do you think we just said Jonathan Blow's coming to Xbox One? This man was bashing the Xbox One very recently. Now he's coming over because he needs the money, okay? Yeah. And that's what it always comes down to in life. It usually 9 out of 10 times comes down to the money, all right? And the problem in this case here is PC people pirate. They pirate. I mean, look, we're all human beings, right? If someone says to you, hey, Blam, listen, $60, here you go, here's the Division. And the guy right next to me, standing right next to me, he's like, Blam, here's your PC version. It's free. I mean, listen, I'm not even putting you on the spot, okay? I'm not. Yeah. I want everyone to think of that as a rhetorical question. Which one would you take if you had the PC at home? Now, that's all I'm going to say. So my point is that that's where people gravitate to. That's the kind of people over there. Does that mean they're all like that? No. Nothing in life is full of absolutes. Nothing. But a majority hang out sometime somewhere. And that's where the majority is. And that's why Jay Long's question is, how come they sold only nine different versions, sold over 1 million, and 17 on console or on Xbox One? The reason being is console game. First of all, we don't have a means of that. So we don't have the means to rip shit off like that. Second, we don't want to deal with the bullshit that comes with PC. Because even when you rip shit, we all know this from even like LimeWire or Napster back in the day, right? Remember that shit? You download it, right? You downloaded it, it would crash, right? Or you put your favorite song in there, and 75 different versions came up. Some of them were the old shit, some was the remix, some was the old shit mixed with the remix. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, damn, where's the one I wanted from the radio, man? You know, listen, myself personally, instead of getting something for free, I'd rather use what I get up every day and go to work because I don't have a problem coming home and spending the money. I worked hard for my money, right? So I can use my decision on what I want to purchase and what I don't want to purchase. And so when I want to play the Division on March 8th, I don't want the one that was for free. I want the one that I paid for, that I earned, and I put it in. I know it's going to work. I know I don't have to worry about what kind of graphics card. I don't got to go in there and adjust the shaders, the lighting, the jaggies. You know, I can just play the game. And to listen to these few people that are on YouTube, Blam, listen, you know what I'm talking about. We know these people. Some of these people are on YouTube, and they're like, they make it sound like everybody's got a PC. Well, listen, guys, the 5 of you that keep making videos about it, we don't have a PC that plays games. We don't want a PC that plays games, and we're happy that you're happy playing games on your PC. Leave us the fuck alone. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want nothing to do with your world. So to answer your question, Jay Long, which I probably didn't, is just that, like, literally on console, it's easier, and we don't need to deal with the bullshit. And that's why you see more games sold on console. It's just easier for the casual and the hardcore.
Yeah. All right. So looks like we got one last question here. And this is a Twitter question. So shout out to Dominic Firefox at Blanca Fox on Twitter. She asked a question. She said, "Do you think we as Americans, and I don't really want to say as Americans, but this is just the way she's put it in the question, love Sony PlayStation because we grew up with it and not because they are doing amazing things?" Which is a very, very interesting question. I don't like to get into the whole Japanese American thing. That's very, everybody has their own opinions. So I don't really want to offend anybody or anything like that. Mooch knows I'm the I guess I'm the neutral guy. That's what he fucking calls me all the time.
I call him Mr. Neutral or Mr. Independent.
Yeah, Mr. Independent, you know. So I guess you're right to a certain standpoint, and I'm gonna get your opinion on this after I go ahead and answer, Mooch, if you don't mind. I mean, it depends on who you're asking. If you're asking us on a podcast, and you know, as in me and Mooch and the people that we associate ourselves with, the older crowd, I didn't get. I don't know. PlayStation was one of the. When the first PlayStation came out, I was in love with it. I'm not gonna lie. PlayStation 2 came out, I was in love with it. Not even gonna lie. But when the Xbox came out, when it dropped, it wasn't It wasn't the fact that it was an American console. It was the fact that it was doing something different. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that answers the second part of your question. Is that's why I play on Xbox, is because they're doing amazing things, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I enjoy the PlayStation, but if you take the PlayStation 4 for example, it's grown. It has grown. They've added features, different things like that. But if you look at the 3 from the 4, like I said before, all Sony had to do was get back to the basics. The reason why the PS3 was a failure, or not failure, quote unquote failure, but when it started out really bad, first was pricing, second was because they were doing something a little different, and it didn't work out that way. So all Sony had to do was get back to the basics. So all they had to do was say, if you look at the message they've been pushing this entire gen, is we're for gamers. We're for gamers. We're just a games only console. We don't do any of the other stuff. Games. That's how they, won the PR war this generation, and they continue to push that narrative, which is helping them, which is fine. They're supposed to do that. But I play Xbox because I love the features. Microsoft has always been a cutting edge, forward thinking company, and I enjoy what they bring to the table. They've constantly pushed gaming forward. Sony has too, so I'm not going to sit up here and act like Sony hasn't either. But just to not to the extent. Once I got my first Xbox, the OG Xbox, I haven't looked back since, Mooch, and I don't plan on looking back. I have had PlayStation 3s, different things like that, because those are also great consoles. But I just look for Microsoft when it comes to forward thinking and innovation. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you answer that last question here, Mooch.
Well, I hope I'm answering it, because I'm basically taking what you had answered, and I'm going to answer it. If you can all that's listening right now, the 54, shout out to the 54 people that joined us this afternoon. I appreciate that.
Shout out, big shout out.
Yeah. If I could put you guys all back to May 20th, 2013, when the Xbox One was revealed in Redmond. Okay, they had that big, huge show. Like Blam had said, I sat down, I watched what they presented, and I saw things like Snap TV. I saw things like Kinect. I saw that the Kinect was going to be able to see me hand my controller over to my wife or the kids and let them play, and that the Kinect would see their facial recognition and change the buttons to their settings. I saw that when I walk into the room, it's going to say, "Hi, Mooch," and then put my settings up on the screen. I saw that when I wasn't there and my wife walked in and her profile came up, her favorite things would come up on the screen. I also saw that these were things I couldn't do last generation. Okay. Yeah. I also saw the money that went into it. $100 million went into the redesign of the Xbox One controller, which we have to admit, some of that money probably went into this Elite controller too. Mm-hmm. And you saw all these things coming. Then they said, here's the games we got coming. I saw things like Sunset Overdrive, Titanfall. I said, oh shit. Okay. Then there was the February release for the Sony platform. That was prior, so I'd already seen it. They hadn't shown the box. They showed just the controller. What the hell that meant, I don't know. I saw 20 indie games and 4 CGIs, the games that were not even gameplay, not even what it would be. It was just far out CGIs. And as a consumer, I said, why would I want to join? I had a PS3. I had 2 PS3s in the house, and I had like two 360s. I came about them because the original PS3 and the original Xbox 360 I had purchased because just like we all did. We all went and bought. But then I had a friend of mine who's like, he literally stopped by my house, and I said, where are you going? He goes, I'm going to GameStop. This is back in like 2011 or 2010. He's like, I'm returning my PS3. I don't play it. And I'm like, well, what are they going to give you? They're going to give you like $50. You know, they give you like shit. And I was like, he goes, I don't know. I go, get him on the phone. I go, call GameStop right now. What do they put him on speakerphone? And I think they said like $70. It was like a weekend. Dude ended up making out. It was a weekend where they were giving like $25 on top. He's like, we're doing $75, 77, no, $70. I gave my friend $70 for the PS3. Maybe it was like $65. I don't remember. It was like 2010. So I ended up with 2 PS3s in the house, and I had just bought Xbox 360s. I had mine and I had my son, right? So when I saw that the games and the shooter generation and the way that the controller was better on the 360, I was really interested to see what Microsoft would do to take this to the next level for the next generation, the generation we're currently in. And they knocked it out of the park. All of a sudden, the show's over, and the media and everybody else is like, that was awful. What a shit show. Who wanted to come here for TV? I was like, I put my hand in the air. I was like, me. I'm like, because listen, call yourself a gamer all you want. You're also a TVer, okay, buddy? You watch a lot of fucking TV, man. Don't lie to me. Do not lie to me. Do not lie to all of us. Don't tell me that Game of Thrones is number 1 on what? Gaming? No. Is The Walking Dead doing really well in gaming? No. That's AMC. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are watching television. People are watching TV. You can't tell me otherwise. American Idol is not a video game we're all playing. It's a movie. It's a TV show, that is still like number 5 after fucking 15 years on the air. My point being is this. They showed us ways to interact and make the console a part of our living room. That was like you just said. When you saw Blam, what you saw, it was hard for you to leave that ecosystem. It's hard for you to go back. And that's the same way I feel. I feel like, listen, I got my Xbox One upstairs all hooked up to my media system. Downstairs, I got just the PS4 and my other Xbox One, but the one downstairs I don't have hooked up to TV because that's just like a media room. It's just for movies. So hear me out, movies and games. Upstairs. So when we go downstairs, putting the PlayStation on, I feel like I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's no one on. I have a lot of friends on there, but there's no one. Like, it's not like now with the Xbox community where people are popping in and out, saying what's up. We all playing. The message screen that's got all of our activity feed on there is amazing. See what's going on with your friends. You can click refresh, everything that's happening up to the minute. There's none of that on PlayStation. I feel like I'm in a dead end. It's the Lonely Station 4. With the Xbox, I feel like I'm always connected. I feel like my kids' games, everything, even my kids, they like to play Lego Dimensions. They like to play all these other, like everything's connected. They have all the shit on the side that you recently played, the game store. You scroll down, the pins are right there. Everything is just so nifty. Your friends are right in your face. It's just so nice. And on the PlayStation, I feel like you put the disc in, you play the game, and when you're done, you shut it off and you go to bed. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I actually answered the question, but my point is this. Once you get a taste of it, if anybody that's listening to this or knows somebody that doesn't have an Xbox One, if you can talk them into trying an Xbox One for a week, they won't go back to the Lonely Station 4. There's nothing over there, man. There's no community. There's no games. What the hell are you doing with a console with no community and no games? There's nothing there.
Well, see, Mooch hit the nail. No, you're fine. Hit the nail on the head again, everybody. Hit the nail on the head again. I just, it's hard to say. I pretty much think you wrapped it up, Mooch. You pretty much said everything that needs to be said. Yeah. It's a great show.
Another good show.
Thank you. Definitely. Good show. Everybody coming out. You got 54 people in here right now watching. Thank you guys for spending so much time with us. When me and Mooch, we're gonna continue to do this. I think this is gonna become a thing. And me and Mooch gonna do just every so often. When me and him have time, we'll do this Q&A. It just started out as kind of a random thing, and you guys enjoy it a lot. So we're gonna make it something that's more of a it's just kind of a normal thing that we're going to be doing. If Mooch, will have me on and, I'll have him on, I don't think that'll be an issue. Yeah. So, you want to go ahead and shout yourself out, Mooch, and just say a few things or anything like that before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I do want to say something. First of all, thanks to everybody who came out today on Blam's channel. I really have a lot of fun. Me and Blam, we actually play we game out at least 3-4 nights a week as it is, and we've been close ever since, man. So we got something cooking there, and we got good chemistry on the show. Also, speaking of shows, I did have a Crossfire podcast last night, and I don't know if you heard about it or you read about it. Anybody did? YouTube was having a lot of issues, so the live stream was coming up a little hiccupy. The good news was the minute the show was over and it rendered and processed, it is 100%. So if you go to the Mooch 78 on the YouTube channel and click on last night's Crossfire podcast, we had a really good show. Special guests were Xbot 448 from Hard Knock Gaming, and we also had a buddy of mine, my partner in crime, the Crap Gamer, who you never want to miss what he's got to say. He's always he's not just compelling; he's very forward. And so, shout out to last night's podcast crew with Rand and Southbound and Down, and my buddy Dreyer Smith, who's a freelancer for writer for Tick Podcast. The man really is a. If you don't follow him, it's Dreyer at DREYER_Smith SMIT. You really should follow him on Twitter. Really, really wise with his tweets. Very educated kid. Knows what he's talking about. And he knows what he's talking about. He's an interesting person to follow on Twitter. Really, really cool way to look at things. But, check out the channel, The Mooch 78. Really appreciate everybody. PTK, thanks again for having me on the channel. And we'll work something out over this week. I'd like to maybe have you on next week if you're available. If not, we'll do it the week after Crossfire.
All right, for sure. Definitely. Appreciate it, guys. I'm going to do my little shout-outs. Like I said, shout out to everybody in here watching us. We appreciate the love and support. Shout out to the Shop podcast. By the way, that is still going to be happening at 5 p.m. my time, which is Mountain Time. So that'll be 7 Eastern Time, or what is that, 4 Pacific Time, I believe.
Yeah,
so,
7 p.m. Eastern, or the Lord's time, as we like to call it.
Yeah, that California easy time.
That easy.
Talking about. Yeah, that easy time. But I appreciate you guys rocking out with us. Child podcast will be coming up in a few hours here. You're going to get a double dose of Blam. Got a couple people on the show today. We're going to have a great show. Shout out GKB. Shout out Matt. Thanks, Mooch, for always coming on. I appreciate it. You're like family, brother.
Always.
Like family, man. Always, man. If we can get together at E3, man, hopefully we can all get to E3, man. We got this. It's kind of some growing in the Xbox community right now where, like, every single one of us is trying to get to E3. We're trying to do it big this year. All of us attend and show our support for the brand. Awesome. But we appreciate you guys rocking out for a little while, for a couple hours with us. More will be coming soon, man. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you guys, and you guys enjoy the weekend podcast coming up in another couple hours. So tune in. I'll be tweeting that also too, guys. All right, man. You guys have a good evening. Everybody take it easy.
Peace.
Peace.